Those opposed? Motion carries. John Acomb, could you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Y'all please rise, move your hats. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John. And Mark, could you please lead us with tonight's announcements?
Thank you. We kick off the holiday season with Thanksgiving break, in which our students have off school this Wednesday through Friday, November 27th through the 29th. In addition, the COLAC administrative offices will be closed to the public on the 28th and 29th, except by appointment. We are in full swing with winter sports, with many activities happening over this weekend's holiday break, including the BMHS Alumni Swim this Friday in our new natatorium, starting at 4 p.m. Saturday, the Knights boys basketball team hosts Monroe in the Barking Arena, starting at 5:45 for freshman and JV games and 7:30 for varsity. In addition, the annual boys hockey tournament will take place at Beloit's Edwards Ice Arena at Telfer Park all weekend. Those looking for something to do to get themselves in the holiday spirit should join us for the Beloit Memorial High School's Miracle on 4th Street show. This is the Performing Arts Department's premier showcase concert involving voice, instrumental, and dramatic talents. The performance will take place Friday, December 6th at 7:30 p.m. in the Beloit Memorial High School auditorium. This concludes the November announcements.
Thank you, Mark. And let's move forward then with recognitions. And I believe we have Marsha tonight to lead us in tonight's recognitions. Could you please join us at the podium? And welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Marcia Schwengels, principal at Hacket School, and tonight we'd like to do a special recognition. And we have with us at Hacket for the third year in a row a Vista member, and Vista is Volunteers in Service to America, okay. And it's part of the AmeriCorps group. AmeriCorps Vista members live and serve in some of our nation's poorest urban and rural areas. With passion, commitment, and hard work, they create or expand programs designed to bring individuals and communities out of poverty. Vista members generally do not provide direct services such as tutoring children or building homes. Instead, they focus their efforts on building the organizational, administrative, and financial capacity of organizations that fight illiteracy, improve health services, foster economic development, and otherwise assist low-income communities. Vistas develop programs to meet a need, write grants, and recruit and train volunteers. Well, at Hacket School this year, we have a Vista, and her name is Kelly Berg. And Kelly is amazing, just amazing. She has been with us since August. And in her short time at Hacket School, she's gone above and beyond her call of duty. In this short time, she has applied for numerous grants. She has generated many door prizes for our family fun nights. We have a STAR program for our students at Hacket, and Kelly has started a STAR program for our parents at Hacket as well. And they get recognition, and this month there was a Woodman's Door Prize, and they get a little ticket that they can put into our raffle every time that they show a STAR parent behavior. Some of those are reading with your children at home, coming to an activity at school, and it's absolutely fabulous. In fact, we had perfect attendance for first quarter awards on this week, and she decided, that is the parent who helps get them to school. So any child who had perfect attendance, the parent also got a STAR award for helping to get their child to school on time, which was just amazing. She's already had some parent workshops. She has surveyed our parents about what their needs are, and based on the outcome of the survey, she's invited Beloit Hospital to come in for informational seminars, and the first one with their biggest need was how to help their child with ADHD. So this past month we had someone come in and met with the parents to help with their concerns. She has started a wall of recognition, not a war, sorry, for all of our students who go up the behavior chart and end their day on exemplary. And they get their picture taken and they become on our wall of fame. She helps out with lunchroom, which if you've ever visited a 4K through 3rd grade building, is quite a task to help the little ones get their food, and she does amazing there too. She has just so many ideas going through Hacket School that there's no job that she won't do. There's no job that she hasn't done, but I'm sure she'll continue to think of something. And we are just incredibly blessed to have her with us at Hacket School. Kelly Berg. So this is a certificate of appreciation awarded to Kelly Berg in recognition of her building dynamic partnerships with Hacket Elementary School staff, students, and parents, and the Beloit community through her enthusiastic and professional work accomplished as an AmeriCorps Vista volunteer. So congratulations and thank you so much.
What outstanding contributions, and a big thank you to you, Kelly, also from the board. Let's move forward now with citizens or delegations. Are there any citizens or delegations that wish to speak to an area of interest that is not included on tonight's agenda? If so, I would ask that you rise and approach the podium while I read this brief, hopefully brief, legalese. Members of the audience, the Board of Education is now at a place on the agenda where we will receive public comments from citizens or delegations on area of interest that are not on the agenda. The Board of Education will generally not respond or act on items that are not on tonight's agenda. Appropriate items will be referred to administration or one of the board's committees. Citizens wishing to speak on one of the posted agenda items may do so as the items are called by the board president. While the board and district welcome public comments, we as a board also must ask that you exercise care in your comments that relate specifically to district employees or persons connected with the school system. In order to protect the rights of these individuals and in the interest of complying with open meeting laws on prior postings of items for consideration at this meeting, the board reserves the right to end comments on such topics. The use of specific names of district personnel may lead to legal liability on the part of the speaker. The board would also like to remind the public that the board has existing procedures in place to dispose of legitimate complaints against staff members and persons related to the system. Persons desiring to speak should come to the podium and give their full name and address before beginning to speak. Each person is asked to speak no more than 3 minutes. Are there persons who wish to speak at this time?
Yes.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is William Dupuy, 2235 West Red Cedar Drive, Janesville. I'm a retired Beloit teacher and a football coach for over 20 years. I'm here to talk about the firing of the head football coach. Almost 3 years ago, Coach John Dupuy was hired to turn a football program around that had struggled in many ways for over a decade. Not everyone in the district believed in him, so that made his job even more challenging to begin with. Coach Dupuy had only 3 months to get his program started. Over 70 kids, 13 and younger, came to his first summer camp, along with over 80 high school athletes that June. They were looking for a change. His passion for Beloit's football program was felt by the community and alumni with their show of support and donations and fundraisers, which would be used to update old equipment and outdated uniforms. Coach Dupuy raised over $60,000 over the next 3 years. Integrity has been added to the program, where giving back to the community is just as important as wins and losses. His players volunteered their time at Applebee's breakfasts, Walmart fundraisers, Frito-Lay picnics, and Vets Roll flag raising. Coach Dupuy didn't forget the Beloit alumni. They became part of new direction the program was headed in, social networking. Coach Dupuy kept them updated on the players and the progress of the football program. His innovative no-huddle spread offense was fast-paced and exciting to watch. His teams broke 30 Purple Knight football records and had 21 all-conference selections. All this in only 3 years. His love for the game brought pride back to the players as they showed their thanks to their fans after each game, win or lose. The respect he received from the coaches around the Big 8 Conference for the job he was trying to do to bring back Beloit's football program was inspiring. Coach Dupuy's uniqueness at each game with fireworks to start each home game and a fireworks display after each homecoming game was special, win or lose. Each game was a learning process, which made losses tougher, but made the wins that much sweeter. Especially last year's win at Madison East to break a 29-game losing streak, and this year's homecoming win that brought the students onto the field to celebrate with the team. That doesn't happen without Coach Dupuy. This is a program headed in the right direction. Some people in the district think we need to go in a different direction. What direction would that be? At the beginning of the season, Coach Dupuy was told to make improvements, but was never told what to improve upon. Coaches should be evaluated each year, and if styles need to be improved, that
There's
should be
30
discussed.
seconds remaining, sorry.
Isn't that what we do with our teachers? And aren't coaches teachers? These coaches don't coach for the money or the glory. They coach because they love the sport and enjoy seeing their players learn and become part of something special. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would wish to address the board? Please rise and come to the podium at this time. And will there be anybody else that wishes to speak tonight? And if so, if you could please join the gentleman at the podium.
My name is Gene Dasso, 1603 Burton Street, Beloit, Wisconsin. I too would like to address the board on the firing of Coach Dupuy. They say that it's not about wins and losses. I think that it really is when it comes down to high school athletics. It is a lot about wins and losses. If you take a look at what Mr. Dupuy had said that he had accomplished, that they got new chutes, one-man sleds, all new dummies and pads that are purple, all new knee pads for all levels, all new girdles for all levels, all new helmets, all new shoulder pads. The upgrades that he did and the money and the fundraising that he did was spectacular in the 3 years that he was a coach. He has taught these kids that you give something back to the community, that football is not just a game, that it's something that you can sit there and take pride in. And what better way to teach a young man the adversities that they're going to face in life later on and how to overcome that adversity than to lose, but then to win. I will tell you that if you want to know about, look for who to blame for the ineligibility of football kids, look to me, the parent. I had a son that played for Coach Dupuy a couple years ago. If you ask my son today, and in fact in the car on the way home from work, he works with me, he told me, he says, you know, Dad, I wish I could go back to elementary school and do my school all over again, especially high school. He goes, because I'd take my grades seriously and I would have taken football seriously. He said, if I would have listened to you and Coach Dupuy, I probably would be at a college somewhere playing football. I told my son, don't let that dream die. You can still play at a college level. If you ask my son what Coach Dupuy meant to him, he will tell you that he was a man that he really respected. Sometimes I think he actually respected Coach Dupuy, sometimes even a little bit more than me, and I'm his dad. And I don't say that with any kind of malice towards my son. But if you ask a lot of the former football players that Coach Dupuy said, and I know that in the paper I'd read that they were looking for a kid magnet. What better kid magnet than you have than the guy that you just fired? All I ask is that you reconsider the firing of Coach Dupuy and let him continue for a few more years on what he started. When in 1978 I joined the Army, and I'll finish with this little story. I was on a plane ride home. I was in uniform. I was going home from my first leave, and I sat down on the plane, and there was a girl sitting next to me. I started to talk to her naturally because she was attractive. I started to talk to her, and she says, are you in the Army? I said, yes, I am. There was another young man sitting on the opposite window seat. And he looked at her and he said, why do you want to talk to him? He's a loser. He's in the military. Take that reputation that the Army had right after the Vietnam War. I had 2 kids that came home from Iraq, and when they got off the plane, there was an announcement at the airport that said, soldiers are returning from Iraq. There were people that were lined up through the airport, and when my sons came off the plane, people shook their hands and told them, welcome home. It took over 20 years to change the Army's reputation from the post-Vietnam era to what we have today, where people actually enjoy in talking to young men and women that serve. All I ask is that for the Beloit football program to start, it's not going to end or begin in 3 years. And if we want to continue this tradition of firing a coach every 3 years, then go ahead. But you got a guy that had that football program, and maybe he didn't have the wins and losses that we would all like to see. I would like to see him win the Big 8, and I watched the state championship on Saturday night. I would love to see Beloit back up there. But, you know, you got to give the guy a little bit more time than 3 years. And I really think with all the community outreach that he did with those young men and everything that he did, he deserves a better chance. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board at this time? Seeing none, let's move forward then to superintendent's report to the board. At this point, I'll turn the meeting over to Steve McNeil. Steve?
Thank you. We are lucky enough to have a couple schools report to the board again tonight. And then my fault, I forgot to put on the agenda tonight, but I want to give a surprise to the Board of Education and the community. We're going to have a report on our iPad initiative by some of our students and staff to talk a little bit about some of the positive things happening there. So we're going to start out with Mr. Vrydaghs, who is principal at Burge Elementary, and give a brief update on Burge and how they're doing.
Welcome.
Thanks. I don't think I need that. It's nice to be here today and to be with you guys this evening. A lot of great things going on at Burge Elementary. I'm the principal over at Burge Elementary on Olympian. This is my first year as a building principal. I was the 7th grade AP over at McNeil last year. Had just a fantastic experience and learned a lot, and was fortunate and blessed enough to be able to come over to Burge and to lead Burge the last couple of months of last year, and started off this year there, and we're doing all sorts of wonderful things, and I want to share some of those with you tonight. First of all, when I got there, the idea of interventions was at the school, but there wasn't a lot of substance and structure behind the interventions, okay? And I got a piece of data that made me think about how can we address this issue. And I want to show you what that data is. Maybe. There we go. The piece of data is related to the building goals and the school learning objectives that we set for this year. And you can look at the first two, but really the third building goal is the one I'd like to draw your attention to. And that says 60% of all Burge students, as measured by the May 2014 Reading Maps Assessment, will meet or exceed grade level norms in their respective grade levels. And then it gives you the numbers for that. Now, that kind of reminds me of a story of a man who was riding his bike in the park and looked up and saw a very attractive woman walking by on the same path. And the lady looked up at him and said, "Sir, I have something to tell you." And he thought to himself, well, I guess I need to hear this. He got off his bike and said, well, what is it that you want to say? And she said, well, my goodness, sir, you are very ugly. And he scratched his head and thought for a minute. He said, well, I suppose you're right, but I don't see as there's much I can do about that. And the lady said, well, you could have stayed home. This is kind of an ugly piece of data here.
That gotcha. That gotcha.
That's straight from Abraham Lincoln. That's one of the stories he told, so I thought that was good for us. And I love telling it. Hopefully it's not because it's autobiographical. But this piece of data is that when at the end of the year last year, we were sending far too many kids to the middle school below grade level in reading. And so that's really, when you look at our school, it's a purpose-driven school. And it is driven by the purpose of turning that number upside down, which was we were sending about 60% of our kids below grade level at reading to the middle school. And we want to flip-flop that. We want to say 60% of our kids will be sent to the next level at grade level or above. And so we have developed something this year having to do with interventions that I think addresses that and gives structure to everything we do. All right, I want you to imagine that there are 5 fourth grade teachers and 5 fifth grade teachers at Burge. And they're in 4 teams, a team of 2, a team of 3 in 4th grade, a team of 2, and a team of 3 in 5th grade. So 4 teams comprising the 10 regular ed classroom teachers. And a team of 2 will have a 45-minute intervention from 8:05 to 8:50. There'll be a 5-minute passing period. And then one of the other teams of 4th or 5th grade will have another 45-minute intervention and then a 5-minute passing. And so we have 4 45-minute interventions throughout the morning, right up until lunch. Everything is scheduled around those interventions. Why? Because we have nearly everybody in the building, all decks on hand, rushing to those teams to provide interventions. So it would look something like this. If this is teacher X, Y, and Z, a team of 3. In each class, let's say there's an average of 25 students for 75 total students. We'll bring those 5 interventionists to bear on that team of 3. We have 4th grade case manager special ed teacher, 5th grade case manager special ed teacher. We have our ELL specialist. We've got our speech and language teacher, and we've got an academic support teacher who's licensed as a special ed teacher. And so they come to bear on that group of 3 teachers, those 75 kids, and they pull about an average of 5 students per intervention group, and they give them pointed interventions exactly at their grade level to meet the need that they have to get them up to speed in their reading. Our most fragile friends as readers here are getting the interventions they need. Some are Tier 3, LLI, taught by our special ed teachers. Some are Tier 2, SOAR, guided reading therapy, guided reading plus. There's progress monitoring and placement that goes on every 2 to 3 months. So we're constantly addressing this. My reading specialist is Brandy Herford. She does an amazing job working with the data, helping to bring these interventions and putting the kids in the right places. So here are our most fragile friends receiving those Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions. And then what are we left with? About 50 kids out of the 75 are left. So they go and file back into the 3 teachers. And we've got now divided by those RIT ranges on the MAP score, we have our most accelerated readers. There might be 25 of the 50 with teacher X. And then there might be 15 of the leftover 50 students in with teacher Y. And then the last 10 would be with teacher Z. And these last 10 are probably the most fragile of the 50. The mid-range readers and the most accelerated. So no matter if you need some remediation to get up to speed, here you go, we've got it. If you're kind of right where you need to be, you're getting what you need to zoom up even higher. And if you're already accelerated, you're getting what you need to go even beyond that. So all these things are pointed and directed. It makes the school purpose-driven. Everything is around that. We've cleared out all specialists in the morning. There are no specialist classes till the afternoon, so we can run this. And then there's a 30-minute school-wide math intervention after lunch from 12:05 to 12:35. And it's designed a little differently. But this is where we are pouring our resources. This is where we're pouring all of our efforts to get and flip-flop those numbers so we can address that data piece. What else is going on at Burdge? We've instituted some parent nights here throughout the year. We've got 5 of them scheduled. 2 have already taken place. September 10th, it was a welcome back night. November 19th, Steve came to address the crowd, as well as Beth Clark, and we had a pretty good turnout for that, talking about the 4-8 transition, answering a lot of questions our parents really were concerned about right there, face-to-face, a very intimate setting. It was a great connection with the community. Our next will be February 11th, and we're going to bring the iPads into this and make a walking museum to focus on Black History Months and in a larger sense, civil rights movement. And so all of the teachers in 4th grade who don't have the rollout yet, they each have about 10 iPads per class. And then 5th grade, where we're fully integrated there and every kid has their own iPad, we're going to create a walking museum where our teachers and our kids work together to create projects to bring these ideas to life in a way that shows people who come to see it what we're doing, transforming learning and teaching with those iPads. So parent nights have been a success, and we hope to continue that throughout the end of the year. And on June 3rd, we'll have the big finale when we say goodbye to Burdge and move on to McNeil the next year. What else is going on? We're a Title I School of Recognition. And that really, I got to ride the coattails of the previous principal, Deb, who was there last year. That's really her doing and the teachers doing. But we were recognized for the second time in 3 years as a School of Recognition for a Title I award. What else is happening? We had a WKCE pep rally at the end of October before we started the testing, and that was really exciting. We had some of Coach Dupuy's players come, and they each gave little 3 or 4 minute talks to the kids, and, encouraging them to do their best, tying in the idea of how hard you have to work in athletics and how that's just like what you have to do in school. We had the cheerleaders there with cheers and also talking about the same kind of ideas. We led the kids in cheers. I mean, it was a rocking and rolling good time. It was amazing, and we hope that makes a real difference, because one of the things that you have to focus on with this test is getting the kids to take every question seriously, right? Take the whole test like it matters, and that was the point, and they got it that night. So hopefully that's going to show great results for us. What else? I'm going to flip-flop to number 6 and end with number 5. Writers Workshop, the new Lucy Calkins Writers Workshop. We've had 2 writing coaches from our staff, one 4th grade and one 5th grade, who went to New York City to listen to the great Lucy Calkins in person. A week-long, intense workshop. They came back with all sorts of great ideas as our teacher experts. And we've developed on-site professional development where all of the 4th grade teachers go into Mrs. Murray's class, who's our expert coach, watch her teach. We take care of all the kids in the other 4 classrooms so they can go there and watch her do her thing. Then they come back to their PLC time and they get to talk about what they saw. They get to ask questions and pick her brain. It's a great learning environment. Same thing with 5th grade. We've done that a couple times, and the teachers report back that the stamina among the kids is growing. If you are familiar with this writing program at all, it gives about a 10 to 15 minute, 10-minute mini lesson, and then the rest of the hour of writing, 50 minutes is writing time, where they are intensively writing. They're being coached by their teacher, and that's hard for 4th grade students. That'd be hard for a lot of us probably to sit down and write for 50 minutes straight. But that stamina is building every day. The kids, I go in there and watch this, and those kids are down there, and they've got great strategies, and they're writing. They lose their thought on that. They try something else. They've got their notebook full of ideas. It's really exciting. And I invite you, of course I invite you to come see what's happening at Burdge. Come in, visit a classroom, and see the great things that are going on in our school. And I'm going to end with just a word about our iPad initiative. What a great thing it is. I don't think I can overemphasize the impact it's had on our school, on our teachers, and our kids. Engagement is through the roof. Now, there's something called the SAMR model, which describes different levels of use of the iPad. The S is substitution, where, instead of reading a textbook and using a worksheet, you could read the textbook on the iPad and do a worksheet on the iPad. That's a substitution. All the way to the R, which is redefinition, which is where we want to get. We want to transform learning, and we want to transform teaching and make it look like it's never looked before. That's where we're headed. We're not there yet. But the engagement piece alone is off the charts. And I'm going to end with this little story. I've got one of our friends in 5th grade we would call him a fragile friend, right? He's got a lot of behavior issues. He's in day treatment, and he comes to the school about 1 o'clock every day. And I bet I spent 90% of my time last year, those last 2 months, working with him, trying to help him find success. He was kind of a runner. He didn't stay in class. He would leave the building sometimes. Just every issue you could think of, that was his issue. Well, so he came in from day treatment. It's about 1 o'clock. I'm thinking, I always tried to read him and look at his eyes and, is this going to be easy to go to class, or is this going to be, I have to really work hard to get this thing going here. And I was reading him, and he looked off today. And so I had a bad sense about what was going to happen. He has his hat pulled over here and his big flaps down here. He looked really cute, but I could sense something was going. And I thought, I don't know what's going to happen here. So I talked to him for about 5 minutes. He didn't want to go downstairs to class. Finally got him to get down there. And we get in front of his classroom, Mrs. Straub, the great Mrs. Straub. We're in that classroom, and he looks inside. And what does he see? iPads, the first day of iPads. And all of a sudden, his entire face, his countenance changed. It was like a light beaming, from above. And he just started smiling. He goes, there's iPads! And boom, he was gone. So I didn't even have to do anything. The iPad pulled him in. And, if we get nothing else out of these iPads, we've already won. The kids are completely engaged every day in every way. And I'm here to tell you, they're doing more than just that. They are using it to transform the experience in the classroom. And I want you to know also, as I end here, that the greatest thing about Burdge is its people. I have on my staff 10 of the greatest regular education teachers you'll ever meet. They are fantastic. They perform miracles every day. I want you to come and see it. Come watch what's happening in these classrooms. And they are dealing with kids that have been through all sorts of trauma, all sorts of things that make their life difficult. And these guys come in there and they teach their guts out, and they do a great job. And I'm just so proud of them, and I want you to be proud of the school district of Beloit, because it's a great place to be. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Little Freudian slip was Joe actually was an assistant principal at McNeil right before we moved him over to Burge, so not just because McNeil's a good name. Next we have Katie Smullen from Merrill, and Katie's going to give her presentation on the great Merrill Elementary.
Great Merrill Elementary. Thank you for having me, and I just have a few slides to show, and the overview is that we're moving in the right direction. I have some maps data for you, and so I'm going to focus on the graphs and kind of go through this quickly because you all have this in your board packet. But this is our, if you want to click again, Beth. And this is our reading from fall to fall, and you can see we're starting out about where we started out last year, but you'll see in our spring to spring data, we'll go forward. Go ahead, Beth. So that's where we are from fall to fall over the last 6 years. If you can go on. And then this is spring to spring, which is pretty exciting. If you go to the next graph, you see that we've increased, over the past 6 years, we have the highest scores that we've had in 6 years in every grade level except one. And they're all moving up. So we're pretty excited about the hard work that we've been doing there. And then math is more exciting, so get ready. Go ahead, Beth. This is fall to fall. Again, we're coming in about where we came in last year, so we're still working on that summer slide. You can just see, inching our way forward, but then if you go spring to spring, and then the next slide shows that we have the highest scores that we've had in 6 years in every grade level. So we're kind of like how Joe talks about his staff, is how I feel about my staff. They're working really hard, and the kids are working really hard, so we're just really proud of them. Yeah, and then the next, I think I just kind of flew through those. We were identified as a focus school, and we had to make our annual measurable objectives in both math and reading for non-economically disadvantaged students, and we did that this past year. We had the highest test scores in WKCE. So again, just really happy, and we're looking on track to do it again this year. And I agree with Joe about the writing curriculum is really exciting, because I see already the kids are just writing so much more, and their answers are so much more in depth. And then if you go on our PBIS update, we were awarded as a school of distinction last year, and so we presented at a conference as well, and so we felt very excited about that, because our kids are just doing a great job, and our staff's working very hard to recognize students for their great behavior. And our last update is construction. We are so happy to be complete. It's beautiful. I actually had she was a little girl I babysat when I was really young. Chelsea Tubbs came back. She's a dean of students in Harlem, in New York City, Harlem, and she was so impressed. She had seen on the Facebook me talking about Merrill and all the good things going on in Beloit. She reads the Beloit Daily News and was like, I just wanted to come back and see. And I took her around and showed her the music room, the art room, and all that we're doing. And she's just so impressed. I'm like, come home, Chelsea, come home to Beloit. It's a great spot. And I was able to talk about all the good things happening here. So you'll hear more from Merrill, but we're really in a good place. So thank you. And thank you to the citizens, as always, for the referendum. It was just, we love showing off the school. Come visit. Thank you.
I just kind of want to give a shout out to Joe and Katie. I mean, two really outstanding principals that are doing a great job. And we're lucky to have a district full of outstanding principals. And these are two examples, but I'll tell you what, they lead tremendous staffs. And what's happening in Merrill right now and the gains that they've made, had one of the best report cards you're ever going to want to see. So congratulations to Merrill for that. Tonight we have a special treat. We have students and teachers who will be sharing a learning experience that encourage personalized learning using the iPad. The iPads were integrated in the 2nd and 5th grade elementary classrooms, secondary social studies and math classes at the end of September. Since then, there's been a wave of excitement as our teachers meet the needs of digital learners. Our first presenters come from Valarie Johnson and Regina Garner's classroom, who I've been to personally and watched the kids with them, and they're awesome. And I'm not going to introduce your student. I want you guys to do that because she's awesome. So.
Hi, Mrs. Johnson, or Valarie Johnson. This is Regina Gardner, and this is our 2nd grader, Lonnie. While I helped put together the PowerPoint presentation, I just wanted you to know that she was responsible for the photos, the content, and writing her speech. So this is all her. Some of this way for you. Okay, do you want me to back up a little bit? You okay? All right.
Hello, my name is Lonnie. I am in 2nd grade in Mrs. Johnson and Mrs. Gardner's class at Converse Elementary School. I'm going to show you some ways we use the iPads in 2nd grade. We have an app called the iTunes Zoo that we use to watch videos, read directions, and do activities. iTunes Zoo is special because we can work at our own pace. We have different choices of activities and can check off our work as we are finished with it. We use today's Meet to answer questions from our questions and have discussions. It is special because we can all answer at the same time. It also helps us with our writing. We also have an app called KidBlog. On KidBlog, we get to post stories and narratives. It is special because we get to read our classmates' work and stories, and we get to comment on their posts. We also have an app called Google Drive that we use to save all of our important work. Google Drive's special because all of us can go on a document at the same time and see each other's writings and ideas. Thank you for coming.
Next we have Brandy Grady from Aldrich with her 7th grader, Brian.
Okay, I am the media specialist and teach 6th grade and 7th grade computers. This year we started a Web 2.0 class, and we wanted to make it realistic, and we wanted to make it where they're actually creating content that's going on the web. So for one of our projects, we made book trailers, and they made video book trailers, and they had to then post them on their school YouTube accounts through our Google Drive account and create QR codes and use them. And these book trailers that they made are, the QR codes aren't here. They're actually really going to be used. They're on YouTube. They're going to be posted all over the library, and the QR codes are on the book covers. So this is a real project, and the kids are really using these. And I've actually had teachers ask if they can take these to their classroom so other kids can see the books. So Brian is going to share his experience with making it, and then he's going to teach you how to do QR codes. And you can see some of the videos.
This is my iPad reflecting, and iMovie is the program that I used. We made a book trailer, and we had to create it, and this is kind of the outline on how you do it. You type in your name, this is kind of the credits, and then you have to place all your pictures, and you can even put videos in the slides. And the only bad thing about using iMovie is all these slides, you can't delete them, so it's probably easier to do it on the computer. This is the project that I did. No. No, she is not actually. Me and my partner Kyla, we made this. It took probably a week, I think. We had to put a lot of pictures, and we put some random kind of slide videos that they had, and then we have our QR reader. The main thing is that you have the QR code kind of scanned right on the camera, and you have to make sure the red line goes over the whole thing. There you go. And then it should link right to it. It had music, but okay, what are you doing here? But that's the main thing. Oh, there we go. Watch it. Oh yeah, that'll work. So please open up your QR readers on your iPads. Make sure you have the book from top to bottom.
As he's passing those out, I just wanted to share one other thing. As he's passing this out, one of the things that I think the students struggled with this project the most, the critical thinking of it, was because this is a real project and it's posted online, they had to be very careful following copyright rules, and they had to find images that were licensed so that they could use them. Some of them did Hunger Games, they all wanted pictures from the movie, and I was like, you don't have permission. The photographer didn't say you could use that picture, and they really struggled with that for a couple of days, and then finally one day it was just like that, and they all did it, and it was a really amazing experience, and the project is just going to improve. Brian, we have sound now, so let's put one of them up here.
This is my the other person that did a really good project in our class named Ben. Oh, it should be right. Yeah, it's on there.
Okay, unreflect and do it again. I just lost it.
There we go. Here we go. Video won't start. The video won't start. Video won't start.
This is realistic. See if that one will go.
This is my project.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then this was Ben's.
All right. Did he mix his own beats for that?
No.
I like the, no? All right, I like that.
For this was an Animoto one, and I used iMovie, so that shows you kind of which ones you can use. And then the other thing I wanted to show was, if this will load. There we go. If I click on a picture, I can control its start shot, so it would move when it's end. So like if I started it here, and then I moved it, and it was like right there, then it would move back and forth. I thought that was pretty cool that you could do that with iMovie. And that's pretty much it. The main thing I like about learning with the iPads is that you can pretty much do more things than you could just do in a classroom with the resources you have. This way you have access to like internet without having to check out like a computer or something like that. You have your access, and it's kind of an individual thing. You don't have to like share or anything like that.
And next we have Skrzypchak from the high school.
Hi, I'm Skrzypchak. I teach math up at Beloit Memorial High School. And wow, I have a tough act to follow. So I think I want the little girl to come into my classroom because she manages through those things sometimes better than I do. But one of the things that I have learned in this whole process is that the excitement from the students is contagious. They have a lot more patience and perseverance many times than what I do, and their comfort level is astounding. They are phenomenal. And my mission, or one of my missions this year, is to make math exciting. Because many times, especially with some of the kids that I work with, it's really not their favorite class. They don't really enjoy going to a block-long math class. So Brian, Eric, and Thomas allowed me to show their presentation tonight. It is Geometry in the Real World, and it was a summative project that we did at the end. We went through and taught all the topics and did some things in class, and then they went through and picked out some pictures. The iPads allow them to leave the classroom, and that's what I want. I want them to understand that this geometry isn't just in a textbook, because that's sometimes how they feel, is that it's just here. So they went out and found all sorts of different real-life, real-world applications for the distance formula and for perpendicular. And we're trying to make that connection between what are we learning and why are we learning it. The conclusion, if Brian does his work, then Brian gets a good grade in class. Baseball diamonds and the angle bisector. So it was amazing to me to see, for them to make it their own and take the words in a context and find things or use different applications. I mean, they just go crazy with what they can find and how they use it, and the ease that they have and the excitement and the enthusiasm that they have to share their knowledge. It's totally different when they can take the learning and make it their own. And I think that's what's really been helpful, and make them excited to want to come to even geometry class. So as you can see, there's a wide range of different concepts that they covered. I'm also experimenting myself a little bit with Edmodo, which is another, it's kind of like Facebook for education. So I can kind of set them off on their own paths at different levels, and then they can report back to me. This was one of the assignments that I gave through Edmodo. I posted a picture for them, and it's just a house. And I said, I want you to find different angle relations. So they were talking about alternate interior angles, and they went out and mapped it all out, and some of them are phenomenal. They had like text box, and they had all this different color, and I'm going, how did you do that? So they have taught me an immense amount. Like, he was like, all right, are you ready? And they're ready to go. They're so much more ready than I am, that I have to just kind of let them show me, and we're in this together, and they do a great job with it. They had to prove to me that they had learned the particular, it was kind of like a formative assessment on the way out the door. So Maria just whipped this together, and she's like, okay, here I am, I'm ready. I'm like, you have it done already? She's like, yes, this is why side-side angle doesn't work, and it only works when it's hypotenuse leg. So there's your quick little geometry unit for tonight. But it's taking math to a different level. We're trying to get them to be excited and to want to do things and to show how it is applicable and how math is truly everywhere around you. Abby Vogel has done a great job of putting some lessons together and edu-creations for her students as well. So they can access these lessons at home or in class, so they can use it to either accelerate, or if they need it for a little remediation, they need to remember, oh yeah, how do you do that? They can go ahead and access these as well. So they're available through edu-creations.
So I think this can be pretty difficult for some students, especially because now we have two variables, and that kind of throws people off. So I want to subtract 9 from both sides. Left with 3y. 6x minus 9. I can't combine those. They're not like terms.
So just another platform, another avenue, another way to help our kids be successful, and a totally different, it's personalized, it's individual. If they need help, they can go get it, or if they want to move on because they already have the day's lesson, we can have them go on as well. So lots of different things. We're very, very excited. That's just a little skimming of the surface. I mean, there's a lot more things that are going on, but those were just a few of the little things we're doing up at the high school.
Dawn, do you want to talk about CHAD at all, assessment? Do you know much?
I don't know much about it. Sorry. So.
Thank you.
I won't take much more time, but I just wanted to share real quick about Chad at the high school. He's a social studies teacher. I'll share this with you, his video, and what he did is a screencast of how he uses assessment with iPads. And it's awesome. His kids are engaged. So not only are they creating, they're also being assessed. And so there's a lot of great things going on. But we just wanted to share that with all of you tonight. So I hope you enjoyed the students and the teachers and their stories. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for sharing and showing us exactly where we can go. And we know that this is just the beginning, so it's exciting to see where we are, where we're going, and to dream about the possibilities. So moving forward, let's now move to student board member report. And I see we have Miss Rebecca Charles with us this evening. Rebecca.
Hello. I will not be controversial tonight. I thought I'd give everyone a break. I just wanted to, Mark, you said that the Miracle on 4th Street's on December 6th. It's actually December 7th.
This was written out.
It is okay. It's okay. I'm not blaming you at all.
We all love one another.
That is December 7th, and we would like to see a lot of community out there. I think the performing arts teachers are really hyped up about it, and they're really passionate about it. And I know Mr. Truby, it's something that he wants to continue on for years to come. So the more people we have, the more support we have to continue it on to future years. Winter sports are starting. That's where your other board rep is right now. He's at his first home basketball game. That's tonight. I think a lot of our sports are moving in the right direction this winter, and I see a lot of spirit in the student body this winter with sports. I've spoken to a lot of the students about study tables and the GPA requirement, and I feel that the study table, the opinions on those are about half and half. They don't matter, they do matter. But the overall opinion on the GPA is that if we lower it, it'll look like we're lowering our standards for Beloit. And I think that's the main concern within the students. But that's all I have for you guys tonight. Thank you.
I want to ask about hot topics, but I have heard that there's a winter formal. Is that a true statement?
Yes, there's a winter formal. I'm actually planning that. That's February 21st. And I think we have that on the calendar, maybe. I don't know. I mentioned it at a previous meeting, I think, but it was still up in the air then. But yes, it's now set in stone, having a winter formal, and the kids are very excited about that. That's all I ever hear about, so.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions for our student board rep this evening? Seeing none, let's move forward then with Equality Committee report. Mrs. Bell, are you here to present to us tonight? Excellent. Welcome.
QR codes, we're good. So, maybe as soon as I learned from my 5th grader, I got you. This year we decided to scale back our meetings. As you know, we were suffering from lack of community members being a part of equality. Our membership had declined. So last year at our last meeting, we talked about what could we do differently. We talked about, do we want to change the time? What could we do? So we decided to push the time back. Went to 3 meetings this year. We had our first meeting so far, and I was pleasantly surprised at how many people came out. We kind of casted the net further, sent it to any and everybody we could think of. It was nice. I mean, we had to print more copies. It was nice. It was exciting. And I've also got emails from other community members who are interested. Sorry, I couldn't make the first meeting. Can I come to the other two? Yes, definitely. We welcome you. Please come. We just did some general district updates in terms of building, what's going on in all our different sites. And then we actually ended up having some other discussions that we'll be following up on as a committee. We'll also be going out as a committee to do some building tours because some of our committee members have actually not been into our new building. So we're working with Bobby over in facilities to set that up since we're only meeting 3 times to figure out how to fill that space. So hopefully the momentum will move forward next year and we can get back up to having a stronger committee. That's all.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Let's move forward now with committee reports. We have Finance, Transportation. Excuse, did you have a question in regards to, okay. Since it is a posted agenda item, I would need you to come up to the podium and again say your name and your address, as long as it's directly related to the item of the Equality Committee reports.
And that was with the Equality Committee. It was stated that they were suggesting to make a change because there wasn't enough people. And then it became enough people, and then we have a lot of issues that needs to be addressed, and 3 months is a long time for them to go without being addressed. So we was wondering who decided that, and how did it just come into play? Thank you.
We can check on it, right?
Thank you. I'm sure that we're going to refer that back to our superintendent, and I would expect that you would have a follow-up response hopefully in the very near future, but thank you for sharing. Let's move forward now with committee reports. First up, we have Finance, Transportation, and Property Committee. John Winkleman, please.
Thank you. We met on November 12th and talked about a number of different things. We reviewed purchase orders. We talked about the acceptance and move forward acceptance of a Safe Schools, Healthy Students Grant Award, and we're always happy to accept grant awards in the amount of $2 million plus, so always a good thing. It wasn't a really hard decision for us, so we've moved it forward, and you'll see that, I think, tonight. Janelle spoke for quite a while. We talked about the summer school, a finance report from summer school. It's very positive. We're moving forward. We are seeing good FTEs in the summer school, which in turn generates some income for the district besides helping kids in the summer. So very positive outlook on that one. We talked about some monthly finance reports, and this month we are catching up, so the board, please know we're catching up on finance reports. So we skipped a month this month, and we will go back into our normal cycle next month, and Janelle was speaking to that. We did waiver of rental fees for the Breakfast and Optimist Club, the Miss Beloit Scholarship Organization, and the Dance Parent Association. And that was our meeting.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments for Mr. Winkleman? Seeing none, let's move forward now with curriculum and instruction. Jen Acomb, please.
I guess I'd like to start out by referring back to previous reports a few months back when we talked about the Lucy Calkins Writers Workshop and how we're teaching writing. And we heard about it from both of the teachers who reported tonight from Burdge, for the principals rather, who reported tonight from Burdge and from Merrill. And this is very exciting stuff, and you could tell that they were excited about it, and we are excited about it too. Reading is the key to understanding the world. If you can't read, you can't understand what's going on. But understanding is of little value if you can't communicate your understanding. And that means speaking and writing skills, and that's something that we're putting more emphasis on, and I'm very happy about it as chair of the curriculum committee. And as far as our actual meeting is concerned, we met on Tuesday, November the 12th, and we heard some updates. We have a new grant opportunity which is coming up before us later tonight. We have 2 other grant opportunities. in terms of improving teacher quality grant proposals. One of them is for ELL students and integrating science and literacy. We're doing it in partnership with UW-Whitewater. It's a very exciting grant, and we're very much looking forward to it. The other one is making math matter and teaching math. And the committee had some questions because there were references in it to social justice, and we weren't quite sure what social justice had to do with mathematics, but it was explained to us that actually this has to do with closing the achievement gap, which is obviously always one of the primary goals of our school district. So once we understood that it was about closing the achievement gap, the committee did unanimously forward it to the board for action for this evening. We also are changing a bunch of names of courses, which is coming to the board this evening as well for career and technical education. And essentially, these name changes align our courses with courses at Blackhawk Tech, which have the same names that we are now going to move to, and it creates clarity in terms of what we're doing. So it's a good move, and we're very pleased about that. We've got an update on special education. A couple things about special education, general trends that are of interest. One is that we are seeing an uptick of number of kids who seem to be the kind of kids that wind up in special ed that have whatever the various things are, autism or various other things. And this is not an unusual thing. We're seeing this nationally. And so it's affecting us here. At the same time, we're interested in becoming better at integrating as many kids as possible into the mainstream, and we're making progress in that regard. And we're paying attention to learning and for all of our kids, and that's something that's important as well. We talked about some changes in criteria. Specific learning disability eligibility criteria. This is coming from DPI, and it's taking effect as of December 1st. It's a model which is built on RTI, response to intervention, which is something that that obviously we've been doing anyway, and so we think it's just going to be a new and better way to approach education and so on, but we're going to have to learn as we go into in terms of how to utilize it so that it's absolutely best for our kids. And I think that's going to be a process that's going to begin December 1st, but obviously already a lot of thought is going into it. Talked about music programming in the intermediate schools, and this is really about scheduling. And it's an issue that the curriculum committee has a great deal of interest in. The curriculum committee has felt that scheduling needs to be improved so that middle school or intermediate school kids have opportunities to take music without being forced out of those opportunities by other things that conflict in the same schedule. And not just music, but art as well, and drama. And so this has been noted by those who are planning what we're going to be having the curriculum look like and the schedule look like in the intermediate schools. And scheduling is an incredibly complex process. I'm really happy that other people are doing it. I wouldn't want to be involved in it. It is a complex process, and it does require thought, and it does require an agile mind to do that. But these guys are working on it, and they're doing a good job. And finally, we talked about mandates for teacher effectiveness required by the states, which is a new evaluation program. The good news is that the new evaluation program is in many ways quite similar to the evaluation program that we already have in place. So it's not a great big transition for us. I'm sure I know that in other school districts around the state, in some cases, it is a big deal. Not that it isn't a big deal here, but it's something that's very manageable for us. And we're moving along with that and feeling very comfortable with it. So that's basically my report. If there are any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for John? Seeing none, Nora, could you please lead us with policy and personnel?
Yes.
The Policy and Personnel Committee met on October 22nd prior to the business meeting to make approvals of the administration personnel recommendations. And then we also met on November 12th. On November 12th, we discussed the Safe and Healthy Student Grant Coordinator. It's been mentioned in the Finance Committee that they approved that this grant go forward. It's a $2 million grant. It's 4 years long, and we need a coordinator to help bring it together. We'll be looking at this later on in tonight's board meeting. We also had an update on the handbook, the employee handbook, and it was reported to us that all employee groups have been very positive and receptive to that employee handbook. We have a number of policies that will be coming to us tonight for first readings. Actually, I think we have about 10 policies, 10 or 12. About half of those policies have not been updated or reviewed or even looked at since 1999. So there's some archaic wording and some out-of-dated wording, and we will be looking at those later tonight. We have 2 policies that we're looking to delete. One is on daycare services. We no longer provide it, so therefore we don't need a policy. And another one is on service personnel, and we no longer have service personnel, so we're looking to delete that tonight. And then the remaining first reading policies have to do with the implementation of the employee handbook and not needing certain policies or updating other policies. In addition to those, we also had some updates on Act 10, which we're going to have another update at the next meeting. There are, I guess, the court is deciding where we're going to go on that, and we'll have another update at our next meeting. So I think that just about does it for what we did on November 12th. Are there any questions?
Seeing none, I think we're good. Thank you, Nora.
You're welcome.
We're now at the point on the agenda where we will look at the consent list. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion on the items on the consent list? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the acceptance of Safe Schools Health Students Grant Awards, pages 42 through 49.
Move to accept grant award, $2,214,000 over 4 years.
Second.
Are there questions? John Acomb, please.
Yeah, I'm curious, as I look at this, there's money earmarked for parent stipends, and I guess I'm curious, what are we doing? Are we paying parents to participate? What does that mean? Can anybody answer that?
Much of the first year is about planning, and so we have to form these core management teams, and as part of the core management teams, we have to include parents, and so DPI is advising that we allocate some funds to be able to pay parents for their time for being able to volunteer on the committee.
Nora?
As I was looking through the budget, I just had a couple of questions. The way I understand it, we have the grant, and we are going to be working through the program that we're going to be creating. So I'm just wondering if these figures are just estimates to move it forward then, and we'll make them firm like year by year?
Yes, absolutely. DPI only wanted first year's budget, and because they're navigating through the system as well, because they want intergovernmental agreements and with the federal government, they just wanted me to estimate what the first year would be like.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Barb, because I guess one of the questions that stood out for me, or one of the numbers that stood out for me, was staff travel in year 2. So it'll be interesting to see where the numbers actually sort in, and I would request that there be an update to the board as those are firmed up. So this is a great opportunity for the district, and I appreciate these preliminary numbers, and I look forward to seeing some more secured numbers as we are finding out exactly what we can do.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Other questions? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have new fund development report, pages 50 to 51.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Wisconsin ESEA Improving Teacher Quality Grant Proposals.
Move approval.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries. Next up, course name change proposals, pages 55 through 73, please.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? I have a question. I'm not sure, John, if you can answer it, or if Steve, you might be able to answer it, but with the Cisco class change from Cisco IT Essentials, Cisco CCNA Discovery, and CCNA Exploration to IT Fundamentals, IT Network 1 and 2, I understand the desire to align it with our neighboring educational institutions. The concern that I have, and maybe it's not a concern at all, but one of the selling points when we added these classes was the Cisco certifications that were a derivative of the classes. So are those certifications still going to be a derivative or a possibility for the students in these classes? And if not, because I'm seeing perhaps a not, why not? And is that something we should be concerned because that's originally how it was presented?
You want to take it, Lonnie? Or?
Part of the reason for switching a class was they were finding that people were no longer asking for that Cisco certification. It really isn't a high priority. And the curriculum is pretty tight so that you have to follow exactly what they're doing. And they wanted to be able to expand it so that it could actually transfer to Black Hawk Tech more directly for some courses there in a networking program.
So down the road, future possibility.
John Acomb, please. Thank you.
One other thing, too. We asked some of the similar type questions in the curriculum committee, and some of the Cisco material will continue to be retained in the new course, but there will be additional materials that again, the idea is to integrate it completely with the Black Hawk Tech thing so that they can make a seamless transfer and get into Black Hawk Tech and get credits for some of these courses.
Thank you, John and Lene. John Winkleman, did I hear you?
Nope.
Okay. Anybody else? Seeing none, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries. Moving forward with Safe Schools Health Students Grant Coordinator, please. Discussion? Seeing none, I'd just like to point out to those listening at home that this is a zero impact to our overall budget. So with that in mind, all those in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries. We are now at policies for first reading.
I'd move approval of all policies for first reading. 165, Board Member Code of Ethics. 225, Rule 1, Superintendent Evaluation Procedures. 311, Principles of Teaching. 320, Organization for Instruction. 322, School Day. 342.71, Rule 3, Daycare Services for School-Age Parents, deletion. 537.2, Staff Meetings, Staff In-Service Activities. 541.1, Service Personnel deletion. 542, Support Staff Contracts. 671.1, Payday Schedules, and 671.3, Salary Deductions.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Nora?
On page 91, the school day policy 322, there is just one word missing, and I just wanted to make note of it. It currently reads, during each school year, the number of hours of direct student shall meet, and it should be during each school year, the number of hours the direct student contact shall meet. So the word contact needs to be added. Otherwise, it's exactly the same.
Thank you, Nora. Any other discussion? Otherwise, we've been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries. Policy 661, Depository of Funds for second reading.
Move approval.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries, which brings us to personnel recommendations. Please refer to the Exhibit A dated November 26, 2013, that was at our desks as we came in this evening, the
Move
updated
approval.
Second.
version. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Aye.
Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, John. And those opposed? Outstanding.
Moving.
It's been moved, seconded, and passed. Moving forward with discussion items. Are there any items of interest for consideration at future meetings?
Shannon,
Michael?
we still need to set a date for a workshop.
Workshop date. And I have received from a few board members items of interest for workshop date. If there are others, if you could please give me a call or shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to add those to the list as well. Anybody else for items of interest of consideration? John?
Somewhere after the first of the year, can we maybe as a board group and administrative team talk a little bit about graduation requirements? It seems like we just can't get there. I'm not looking at policy change yet. I'm looking at a discussion to see what we might think about.
Plus the state changed.
Plus the state is doing its own thing.
Excellent. I appreciate that. Thank you, John. Others? Seeing none, we do have as I announced the future board meeting dates, please keep in mind that they are a bit different this month or this coming month in December due to the Christmas holidays. So we have committee meetings that will be scheduled on December the 10th, which will include finance, transportation, property, curriculum and instruction, policy and personnel. And here's the change. Our business meeting, which is typically the 4th Tuesday of the month, will be held on the third Tuesday of the month on December 17, 2013. Steve?
I think it'd be advantageous for the board to get from administration soon and I'm glad to do it as soon as you guys want to, a complete synopsis of where we're at with all of our properties and all of our buildings and facilities. I know that the retired building committee works on it, but I don't want them to work in isolation away from the board. And there's some big decisions I think the board has to make as we go forward, and I would just soon get you guys up to date with everything.
And an update from that committee.
And an update from that committee.
Thank you. Definitely. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, unless there are any objections at this point, we shall be adjourned. Seeing no objections, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.